Hi everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here, and we're going to talk about the sequel to Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah, I know, I'll give you a minute. Google, go on Wikipedia. I know you guys don't know that there's a sequel to Rocky Horror Picture Show. You gotta fact check me. This isn't a joke video, go check. I'll wait.
That's very good. Hello, I'm Dr. Cosmo McKinley. I'd like to tell you about a new film from the gang that gave you the Rocky Horror Show. Shock Treatment. I'm not a locum with no...
Kurds betrayed by Trump. Huh. Oh, you're back. Okay, so yeah, I wasn't lying. There is a sequel to Rocky Horror Picture Show called Shock Treatment. Now, I've known about this for a while. Let me tell you about my history with Rocky Horror Picture Show. I watched it when I was like 11. And I didn't like it. I kind of hated it. I thought it'd be something I'd be into. I'm like, all right, musicals. I'm not the biggest musical guy, but I like, some musicals. And it's got a whole horror theme in there. Tim Curry's in it. So I thought it would be like right up my alley. But I just wasn't into it. And for years I hated it and I made fun of people who liked it. Because I just thought it was trash. And then of course, this kind of happens with everyone. I went to see it live with an audience, and I got it. I fell in love with it. It's one of my favorite musicals now. Really, really enjoyed it. I've seen it live a bunch of times. I've seen the play. Wasn't a particularly good production of the play, but my friend was in it, and she was very good. Yeah, I really, really enjoy this film. Really, really fun. Songs are memorable. I mean, the plot's not the strongest. They do kind of talk a lot about a character and his backstory, like 5 scenes after they murder him, which was his introduction, by the way. So it kind of gets messy there. The whole alien thing is kind of confusing, but it sort of works. It sort of works as Brad and Janet just like enter this nightmare, and it's all crazy. It doesn't really have to make sense. But yeah, the songs are memorable. The choreography is great. The camera work is fun. The set design is beautiful. It's just a really, really good time. So then I watched Shock Treatment the other night. And you think it's got a lot of things going for it. Richard O'Brien, who played Riff Raff, who wrote the original play Rocky Horror was based off of, he comes back. He's writing it again. Jim Sharman, the director of Rocky Horror, he comes back. He's directing again. Richard O'Brien and the girl who plays Magenta, they're back in it. The narrator from the first one, who was in a couple James Bond movies, he was Blofeld in a James Bond movie, he's back as a new character called Judge something or another. So some people came back. And then they couldn't get Brad and Janet back. They couldn't get Barry Bostwick or Susan Sarandon, so they got Cliff DeYoung from Carnosaur 2 and Jessica Harper, I believe that's her name, from Suspiria, as Brad and Janet. So you think, okay, maybe it's not as good. I don't know if there are any good musical sequels. I know Grease 2 has a cult following. But yeah, so I decided to give this a chance. I heard nothing about it, so I assumed it was bad from the beginning. But you know what? Maybe it was just a misunderstood sequel. Maybe it's actually fine. Maybe it's a hidden gem and it's become a cult classic on its own. So I watched it on YouTube for free, because it's on YouTube for free. It's a terrible copy, by the way. It's a horrible DVD rip that changes aspect ratios. It's like they ripped the DVD and they ripped the widescreen side of the disc and the 4x3 side of the disc and then just chopped them together. I don't know why. So I watched it and yeah, it's pretty terrible. I don't know why it was made. It seemed like Richard O'Brien just really, really wanted to do a sequel to Rocky Horror. I looked up the movie a little bit. He wrote a sequel originally that would have Rocky and Frankenfurter being reincarnated, going on an adventure or something. That didn't get approved. So he kind of warped the songs into this new script. And it's just bizarre, but not like a fun bizarre like Rocky Horror. It's just kind of like, why did you do this? I could try to tell you the story. Again, the story for Rocky Horror wasn't the best. But I'll try to explain it. So Brad and Janet are married now. Somehow they got married after all of that. After sleeping with the same guy. They're happily married, but not happily married. So yeah, after cucking each other, they decided that, you know, they need to go on some marriage game show. All right, so there's a TV station that's created by a fast food mogul called Farley, and he makes a TV station, and everyone in the town works for this TV station and is a guest on this TV station. It's like it controls the whole town. I don't know why, but that's what happens. It never leaves the TV station, by the way. Everything happens on the station. So they go on a marriage counseling thing, and Brad is like terrible, and he sings like just an awful song.
Dear blender,
You won't blend into the background to listen your home.
won't you help the first offender? Oh, toaster,
Caught up in the popularity ratings.
don't you put the burn on me?
And they decided he needs therapy, so they lock him away in like an insane asylum with Riff Raff and Magenta, who are playing new characters, and it's not really clear if they are Riff Raff and Magenta. Like, are they aliens that came back and now they have a new master? But nope, they're just there. So I guess they are just new characters. So yeah, Brad is thrown away, and then Farley, who's played by the same actor as Brad, Cliff DeYoung, that comes into play later. Although they did a good job. I didn't know it was the same actor at first. He decides he wants to make Janet the poster child for mental health and how great she is. And they do all these shows about how awesome she is, and then it gets to her head and she becomes real vain and conceited. And yeah, it turns out that all the doctors are character actors, which that actually was the scene I liked. And Farley is the long-lost brother of Brad, and he hates Brad, and he wanted to put Brad in an insane asylum so he could take Janet away from him. And that's it. It's not the greatest story. It's kind of lame. Not really sure what it had to do with Rocky Horror other than the characters coming back. And you know what? I could forgive it if the songs were good, but the songs all suck. There's two that are fine. The shock treatment song.
You need a bit of shock treatment. You're jumping like a real live wire. Need a bit of shock treatment.
And Farley's song. I like the line where he's like, "You're not looking at a king, you're looking at an ace." I'm going to use that line. That's a pretty cool line.
You're not looking at a king, you're looking at an ace.
But like, even when the songs are mediocre, the choreography is just awful. It's mostly people just standing in place or just kind of just trotting around. At one point they're doing this, and Farley's just on a TV, not moving. And there's one song where the camera's going through everyone's window. That's kind of interesting, but it's just not fun. That's the thing. It's trying to be this fun, look at us, we're wacky and wild. Remember Rocky Horror? This is just as good. And it's like, it's just not as good. It's pretty trash. I feel bad. Like, I felt bad watching this because you see Richard O'Brien in it and he's all smiling and happy, and it's like, oh, he's trying. He tried. It was misguided. This might have worked as its own thing. That's another thing. This story might have worked as its own self-contained story. You would still need better songs and better production value. That's another thing. So they actually did film in a TV station. So all the sets are just real sterile and just kind of basic. And maybe that was the idea. I get that could be the idea, but following Rocky Horror, it's just such a bore to look at. Yeah, I didn't have a good time with this. Other than that, like, one line in that one song, didn't have a good time. I guess if there's any positives, Richard O'Brien looks creepy. So following Riff Raff, he did a good job with that. The actress playing Magenta's back. She's not very memorable. They have an actress that's clearly supposed to be kind of like Columbia, not as good. Jessica Harper was really good as Janet. I enjoyed her in this movie. I kind of liked her as Janet. I kind of liked her a little bit more than Susan Sarandon as Janet. It would have been nice to see Jessica Harper in the original. But yeah, other than that, it's just not good. That's all I can really say. It's really just a bad time. Apparently there is a new play based off this script that is in production or was in production. I'd be interested to see if someone could take this and make it work. But as it stands now, Shock Treatment is terrible. It's one of those sequels you didn't even know existed for good reason. You don't have to check it out. It's not even fun as Morbid Curiosity. It's really just gonna bum you out. If you hate Rocky Horror, you're gonna hate this. Or you know what? By some twist of fate, maybe you'll end up liking this. But if you love Rocky Horror, you're just gonna be let down. That's all I can say. This movie is a huge letdown. Don't watch it. Or do. I don't know. Do whatever you want. Why are you listening to me? I don't care. Please like and subscribe. Join my Patreon and buy a shirt. Not this terrible shirt from Mega64, but like an awesome shirt, like one with my face on it. That's a cool shirt. Not this garbage that Rocco gave me. Bye!
You'll be pathetically crazy about shock treatment. Trust me, I'm a doctor.